What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where you know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I'm kicking. And I highly appreciate the support. We're going up on this channel and it's because of you. Now this right here is a very controversial topic. So some of you might want to do the swipey. But those of you that are interested, let's go. Welcome back to the Collective Clips, and of course, like I said in the description, this is a very controversial topic, but it's a real one, so I thought for no other reason, man, we should touch on it, just to give everybody some justification and some intel onto what really goes on, man, what really happens and why Mexicans choose not to eat after any other race, and it seems like especially the brothers, right, the blacks. Now, I've always hated this topic, but I was asked the question, why Mexicans don't eat after blacks, so I felt that for no other reason, I'll put it out there, man. No sugarcoating, no added preservatives. It's just, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it all the way real. Now, this is one of the things I hated about the Youth Authority when I was in CYA. You know, I did a long time in the Youth Authority, and I hated the fact that Mexicans played certain games, blacks played certain games, whites, everybody had their games they played. YA babies played YA games. You know, we were children, locked up, gang banging, earning stripes, putting in work, doing what we felt we had to do to make a name for ourselves, you know, within our gang, within our group. At the same time, there was a lot of rules and regulations that went into it and a lot of things that we weren't allowed to do. And one of the things that was pretty major, especially for the Southerners, the southsiders, was they were not allowed to eat after blacks. I remember we weren't allowed as Northerners to eat after whites or blacks as well. The only brothers we were allowed to eat after were brothers that were actually Norteños striving in the cause or CXIVers, because at one point in time there was a thing called Crip 14 where a lot of the Crips had decided that if for no other reason to join with the Northern cause, man, and it was an alliance, it was a group, it was its own entity, and they were looked at as homeboys, you know, but there was also a rule. A lot of the brothers that were C14ers or CXIVers, if they were kicking it with the homies, if they were involved, man, they also didn't eat after other brothers. They only ate within our car with us. And it's a trip, man. We'd go out to bust our spreads and you would see different groups. The blacks eating their spreads, the whites, the southsiders, the northerners, the bulldogs. Everybody was separated by racial group or by gangs, and that's just how you rocked. It was an unspoken rule that everyone knew about, right? I could tell you a story about one time we had in Carl Holton a microwave, and this microwave was for the community. Everybody used it. That's how we would warm up our water. We would put our sopas in the bowls, dry, put your water in it, and leave your bowl on top of the microwave. And in what order that bowl was in, that's the order you got to use it. There was a couple times there was issues over people trying to cut in line, and then somebody would get stabbed. But for the most part, everybody kind of knew what it was and they respected that gangster and they respected, you know, whoever had it next. And it's whatever. Whoever was the first out to the day room, everybody would run to put their shit on their microwave so that their people could use it first. There was a time when they started selling these new bowls, man, and a lot of people would inscribe their names or a Huelga bird or a 13 or whatever your gang was, a dog paw, on your bowl so everybody knew it was that certain groups. Okay, if it was another homeboy, say I'm a Norteño, there's a homeboy from Sacra, he puts his bowl up there, I see a 14. If I wanted to throw it in for him, I could. He wasn't tripping because he was a homie. But a black or a white couldn't touch that bowl. Well, there was a time where the whites got confused, mixed up, and they ended up grabbing a homeboy's bowl and throwing it in. Now, you got to understand, from the outside looking in, from the regular people in the community, just civilians, what the fuck is the difference, right? He threw the same amount of soups, he threw it in a bowl. Hey, it's not dicked up, it's good. You know, no one dug in their asshole and then fucking stuck their hands in it. Wes Watson, no one did that. No one P. Diddy'd it up, right? No one Shannon Sharped it. Everybody, it was all the same. But when these guys realized, when the homeboys walked up to him and said, hey, bro, they already had their spread. They were eating. The whites, they were all happy. That's right, brother. Coffee after this for everyone, right? They were all happy. And then they realized what they had done. that they had used a Northerners Bowl, these guys took off running at full speed. Speedy Gonzalez. Bunch of woods, throwing up, making themselves gag, throw up. Yeah, it was that ridiculous, right? But it's happened. Vatos were in there drinking Suave shampoo. Give me some shampoo, brother. Not coffee, no shampoo. Right? And they threw it all up. Ridiculous. And again, at the same time, I understand because there was rules in there that you had to follow. They felt like they were basically in a bad way. Now, of course, that story really never got out to the rest of the compas because the other whites would have been like, you ate after Northerners, you're no good. They could have took it that route if they wanted. It was an honest, simple mistake, but it happened. So now I fast forward to prison, California prisons. And there's always people asking me questions. And a question that was asked last night is, why don't Mexicans eat after blacks? You know, but blacks are allowed to eat after whoever they want. You have to understand, these are foundations and lines that have been drawn in the sand, rules that have been put out there for a long time. I never quite understood why you couldn't eat outside of your race. If someone is making a bomb-ass burrito and they offer it to you, you're starving like Marvin, why you can't just reach out and touch someone? Why you can't say, all right, bro, cool. How many times have I been offered burritos, spread, bowls, sweet and sour rice bowls, things that look smooth that we didn't have, right? From other races, man, I can't name it. I can't even tell you on my fingers how many times. How many times have I ate off another race or another ethnicity? I could tell you on my fingers, right? About 9 different times. Albeit I wasn't supposed to. Albeit that I was told, you know, hey, we don't fuck with them cats or we don't eat after them. I said, fool, all money is good money, right? All burritos are good burritos. Now, there were situations where, of course, a Norteño and a Southsider would not eat after each other. You understood that, man. They were the opposition, the enemy. They wouldn't even get close enough to each other's tables to fucking see what the other guy was cooking. But at the end of the day, man, there were some OG Southsiders that could hook a burrito up. That shit smells like a tomahawk steak, right? They were getting down. We were getting down, man. The brothers were getting down. Have I ate after blacks myself? Absolutely. Have I ate after woods? Yep, I did that. Even a skinhead. Hey, what's up, S.A.? You want some of this, brother? Yeah, hell yeah. What's up, skin? What's up, wood? Right? I fucked that burrito up in the cuts. Went in my cell and told my cellie, hey, bro, I got a couple burritos from the black dudes. The homie was like, shit, run that. You know what I'm saying? Them vatos get down. I bet you got chicken in it. I bet you it does, right? Boom, we were fucking it up. Now, why are Mexicans not allowed to eat after blacks is the question. And that's because every race puts themselves first. Primera. Every race, and California prisons, I'm sorry, they're very racial. I don't like it. I don't indulge in it. But there was a point in time where I stuck with my people first and foremost, no matter what. And I still do to a certain point. I'm still about the raza. I'm still about the Mexicanos and the Chicanos and the Latinos. Oh my, right? All the way. But at the end of the day, I respect every different ethnicity and culture because they're all beautiful things. We all got beautiful cultures. And we need to understand that as human beings, right? Respect each other. Doesn't mean you have to familiarize yourself or mingle if you're single. It doesn't mean you have to go kick it with the other car because you know that's forbid. But why is it forbid? Why can't we all just get along? Well, because in California prisons, it's racial and it's drawn in the sand, like I said, and you're not supposed to do it because there's circumstances for every fucking move you make. Okay, there's repercussions for every action. Let me tell you something. The Southsiders and the brothers have been at war, guerra, for many, many decades. Okay, whether it be in the streets or behind the walls. So when I say Mexicans, right, in a northern fashion, there are Norteños that identify closely with brothers, man, in the Bay Area that fucked with brothers. They were in a loose alliance. They've done time together. They're homies from the streets, whereas a lot of the Southsiders, albeit there are some Vadus that have a lot of interaction with Southsiders on the streets, and they're actually progressing nowadays to being a lot more generous and cool with each other than they've ever been or I've ever seen, especially with all these guys running around saying the N-word that are not, their pigmentation of their skin is not the right color, but they're doing it to each their own, right? These vatos, the Southerners would never eat after a black. Couldn't even do a lot of business with them in certain situations, right? But I understood because there was so much bloodshed, so much hatred, so much things that had happened behind the scenes or even on frontline status that I understood that these guys just wouldn't do it. Now, the brothers, from what I recognized and what I seen, were able to eat after whoever they wanted. Were able to will and deal and do business with whoever they wanted. And that's because in prison, When it comes to Mexicans and whites, it's ran by a bigger organization that dictates the program. It's just what it is. You're going to answer and mind somebody, and they have already set the foundation down that you do not, at no point in time, eat after another race, kick it with another race, chill out, unless they say so. And that's just what it is. You got to understand the say-so is with the say-so guys. And if you think you're going to say so, Holmes, you're not. Now, does it happen? Do vatos eat after a vato they know from the streets? It happens all the time, bro. What goes on in that cell, it's like Vegas. What goes on in that cell stays in the cell. Unless there's KY jelly in your cell, I don't want to know what's happening in there, right? But I'll tell you straight up, I, myself, as a Norteño, when I was, active, did eat after brothers and did eat after whites. Now, I never ate after a Southsider, but I smoked after a few of them. Yup, I did it, homie. You guys want to beat me up anyways? There you go, right? In the youth authority, I used to smoke with a vato from Clanton and a vato from Azusa. I did that, right? And a vato from Pomona 12th Street Sharks. Rest in peace to that vato and shout outs and respects to him. He knows who he is. He's looking down on me, right? He was a true homie. We did that. We were young. We were of an understanding that we were friends, man. Leave the gang shit to the side. These guys that I'm talking about didn't see me as an enemy. They understood that our two cars were not supposed to get along, but their true enemies were the other vatos on the compa, the vatos who had killed their friends and who had did bad shit to them. So they didn't trip on me, and we had conversations, and it was like, hey, bro, you're all good in my hood. You know what I mean? Don't even trip. Now, there are a lot of people that like to gangbang on the internet, and a lot of people, oh, that shit would never happen. Well, you are a fool for that one, because it did. But as far as why Mexicans never ate after blacks, there was a lot of racial tension going on, and a lot of people that were just straight up racist. Hypocrites, man. Would sit back, listen to Too Short, bump Eazy-E and Spice One all day long, then go out to the yard and talk about, I can't touch that soup because a black man touched it. Never understood that. Didn't get a grip on that. Wasn't my thing. I thought the individual that did that was a hypocrite. That's just how I felt. But I did understand. You have to look out for you and yours, first and foremost. That's how prison is. You have to worry about your gente and your people beyond anyone. It's all about securing yourself. Back in the days, there was a lot of oppression going on in the 60s, early 60s, before certain prison groups and gangs were organized and came together. There was a lot of oppression going on, meaning there was a lot of guys in prison getting raped. There was a lot of guys in prison getting manhandled. They were getting their things taken, right? A lot of the Mexicans in them times were Mexican nationals, vatos that didn't speak English too well, vatos that really weren't together. You got to understand, at one point, we're talking about pre-Mexican Mafia, pre-NF, pre-all these organizations, these big four groups. There was a lot of people getting taken advantage of. A lot of the raza was getting taken advantage of by whites as well as blacks, okay? You can't forgive and forget certain situations. It just was what it was, right? So a lot of the Mexicans that couldn't speak English were not together, did not comprise a gang or a group or a gaggle. They were being taken advantage of. So there was a hatred instilled in there behind those walls. There was always a saying that went, we don't fuck with the other side. We don't fuck with them guys, right? And that's just how it stood throughout time. Okay, now, as far as eating after another man, if you two are starving on an island, Holmes, you will eat together. But if you're in prison on that island, you won't. There's some guys that are true to their beliefs and they just won't do it. The guys that always trip me out are the ones that'll be like throwing up when they walk past or making extra fucking curricular sounds like it's all bad. Just because another race is eating differently or doing something differently because they're putting mustard in their shit or mayonnaise in their shit. I like mustard and mayonnaise as well, right? There's certain things that have always just irked me, man, or got on my nerves about the penitentiary or being in prison when it comes to the eating thing. Not even wanting to sit at a table with another race because you're disgusted by the way they chew their food or the way they go or whatever, right? I'll tell you this, and this is straight up. I don't got a racial bone in my body, man. I got love and respect for everyone, so I never understood, but I understood. Okay, when rules are out there, whether you understand them or not, you're going to abide by them, or you're going to get fucking whackalizations is going to happen to you. You're going to get fucking stabbed. You're going to get beat up. You're going to get kicked out the carro because you ate after a brother, man. Okay, now the difference with the blacks, is a lot of what they got going on is based off of street gangs. Whereas in prison, Mexicans and whites are based off of prison gangs. So those rules are already set. Whereas the blacks run after a lot of their things have to do with the Crips and the Bloods and the Muslims and the non-affiliated. So you have a lot of the blacks that go in there that don't play those games. You do have a lot of blacks that are racial. You do have, and this is straight up, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. You have a lot of brothers that don't like Mexicans just because they're Mexican. You have a lot of brothers that definitely don't like the white man because they feel the white man oppresses them and because, of whatever situations went on in the past. I understand there's a history there, right? I never really understand the Mexican and black beef. Couldn't get it. We're all minorities. We are all of pigmentation. We are all brothers at the end of the day going through that same struggle, man. But it seems like the black and Mexican issue took precedence over even the black and white issue. The whites and Mexicans, you ask yourself, because a lot of people say, well, why do Southerners run with whites? They don't run with whites. Sometimes they run each other over. I've never seen them really, to be honest with you, gang up on people. They have come together for a mutual understanding or a common enemy. But as far as do they rock separately? Yeah, I've never seen southsiders eating after whites, going over there and chilling, eating their spread with them. Doesn't happen. Southerners ain't eating after no one. Northerners have rules and regulations where they're not eating after anyone. You eat after your own, homies. You survive with your own. That's what it is. Now, the blacks are able and willing to eat after whoever, right? And you say, oh, it's because they're not as militant or disciplined. That has nothing to do with that. It means that they ain't playing that racial shit. Like I said, albeit there are some that are. Straight up. There's no denying it. I think there's racial people from every different ethnicity. Straight up. I can't say every race because we're all one. The humans, right? But yes, the humans. Not the humans, right? But a lot of the gentlemen choose to pick who they're going to fuck with and who they're not. I always respected that about the brothers, is that they're willing to go outside of the box and stay in their comfort zone at the same time. Do what the fuck they want to do, right? I've never seen a problem or had a problem with eating after someone of a different group or a gang, but I knew better than to do it just because I had to live at the end of the day. Now, living under the knife, you say you live by the gun, you die by the gun. Living under the knife, that's what happens in prison. Oh man, you guys got to answer to somebody. You have to fucking respect that OG. You better, yeah, Holmes, abso-motherfucking-lutely. That's how it is in prison, Holmes. You respect the word of the people, the forefathers that set that foundation down. Because if you don't, you're going to get killed. Period. That's just what it is, especially in the California system. Now, I have been to other systems, okay, other states, where it didn't matter your race. It didn't matter your ethnicity. You could eat after whoever you wanted. You weren't going to get beat up on or ridiculed or looked at a different way because you ate after a black man or a white man. It wasn't going to happen like that. Everybody is different in every different prison system. And I respect that about those places. But those were also the same places where they let sex offenders and weirdos walk the yards. So all I can say is, man, tit for tat, tat for tit. You have to pick your poison, right? You can't serve two masters. You either are going to be with the programa or you're not. Okay, as far as why Mexicans are not eating after blacks, because they don't fucking want to. That's it. Because a lot of the vatos remember them old times when they were being oppressed and raped and fucked and beat up and all that. And they said, we ain't messing with those people anymore. Them people. They said it like that, right? Now, myself, when I got into the system, the rules were they're not regulated. The rules were there, Holmes. And I just went along with the flow because that's what you do. And you know what? A lot of the real brothers, real black dudes, man, that have been down for a long time understand the situation. Do they agree with it? I'm sure they don't. Just like there's a lot of Mexicans that don't agree with it. But who are we to fucking say anything? The big bad wolf will come huff, puff, and blow our cell down. And we don't need none of them issues. So that's what it is, man. Is there a specific reason why Mexicans won't eat after blacks, but blacks are allowed to eat after Mexicans? No. It comes down to a racial division thing. It comes down to officers, keeping people segregated from each other, spreading that narrative that people are different when people are not. But if you choose and believe that, then that's what it is. That's totally up to you. You have the right to your own opinion. I myself have always been about black and brown with whites included. Yes, Woods, I got you with some coffee, right? All groups, because I honestly truly believe we rock the same sangre in our veins. We're all red-blooded Americans, right? And that's just what it is. Or blue-blooded until it hits the air. Now, as far as, the Mexicans choosing not to do willings and dealings, it's different. Whereas the Northerners will do, hey, here, trade sopas with blacks and do certain things. I do know that a lot of the southsiders, unless it was packaged stuff, they wouldn't touch it. They're like, nah, I'm cool. And that's just because what they've been told and what they've been through. Whereas you already know, man, anyone that knows what's up, man. When it comes to the southern side, not the other side, the southsiders and the blacks, they're enemies, right? They're enemies, man, behind them walls. Just what it's always been, right? As far as the Northerners, there's not an alliance there, but there is an understanding there. And it's just different. That's why you have a lot of the brothers get on these podcasts or guys that have been in prison and they say, yeah, I fuck with the Norte. The Norte's always wiggled. They've always been cool with us because there are Norteños that will do business with them, identify with them. And it doesn't mean the Northern Mexicans want to be black. It doesn't mean none of that because I don't even know how you be black. You black if you're black, Holmes. You know what I'm saying? I don't even see that's a word that they gave them. They're brown to me. Just different shades of it. I'm just saying, man, that's what I got to say about that. As far as why Mexicans don't eat after blacks in California prisons, because they're told not to. And because it's always been a rule and it's always been like that. But at the end of the day, man, when you're starving, you're going through a hunger strike, and best believe there are a lot of vatos when there ain't no eyes on them, they're like, shit, brother, slide that burrito. Believe me, I know. With that being said, there it is there. A little controversial, maybe even a little racial, I guess you could say, right? But not on my tip. All I got to say is I don't rock that way. I support everybody, and I'll eat after whoever, except for a Chirujo and Danny Masterson, SPM, all those weirdos. Not even Wes Watson, just because his hand is always in his asshole. And I know, what I'm saying, that burrito just is going to have a tart taste. So I can't do that. But anyone else, it's good in the hood. In fact, I know in federal prison, from what I've heard, they actually have a raza days where all the raza from different groups come together, bus spreads, do their thing. I know the brothers do their thing, man. It's all about how you rock and the mentality you have, man. If you're a real one, then you understand food is just food, homie. Let's get straight to it. That's just what it is. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, I'm not glorifying nothing in prison, but I'm giving it to you raw doggy with no added preservatives. Whether you like it or not, it's just facts, right? Straight up. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. And in the meantime, I'm going to bump some Nas. Then I'm going to call one of my black homeboys, and me and him are going to go to Carl's Jr. and have us a double bacon cheeseburger. We're going to break it in half. Now tell me what's wrong with that. Bang, bang, the gun.